Yeah, welcome from my side as well. It's a great honor for me to be the first speaker here, actually. To what is happening?
No, just the sound.
Okay. So yeah, it's a great honor for me to be here, the first speaker. I was here last year, witnessing part of the preparation of the OpenLab, and what I would like to share within the next 10 minutes is some of the experiences we had through the last 8 years at Potsdam, which is very close to Berlin, where I'm located. And actually we started also sharing these experiences through the last, I would say, 1.5 years with the prep team here, setting up the OpenLab. And I called my introduction Design Thinking, the creative power of teams, because this is what it's all about, and what was already addressed at the startup node. Looking at the map, I would start with that. 10 years ago, in terms of design thinking or schools of design thinking, there was just one dot on the world map, which was at Stanford University. And it was some guys, some professors around David Kelly, Larry Leifer, Terry Winograd, George Campbell, and some others. They came up with that very good idea to bring people together from very different disciplines, not just to educate them in silos as we used to do or are still doing this very intensively in universities, but also to bring the people out of the silos, get them together at a certain place, and they called that place the D school. Also a little bit in opposition to the B schools, so the business schools. They were looking for a name, and it was actually a prototype, what they did 10 years ago. They started it in barracks on the campus, the cheapest places they could get. They got some furniture from IKEA, actually. They got nice red couches and all stuff they built on their own. And they put people together, students together from very, very different disciplines. The medical students, the architects, the engineers, the business people, the designers. And it was not about design, traditionally. They were saying, let's try to solve complex problems in a new setting, a complex setting of diversity. And this is what Hasso Plattner witnessed very early when they were still kind of playing around and experimenting in that barracks. And Hasso Plattner is the co-founder of SAP. 40 years ago, he started together with some friends, one of the biggest software companies in the world. And he liked the idea very much. When he got in touch with those guys, he felt remembered to his early times 40 years ago when they were sitting together with their entrepreneurial idea of starting a software company that was very, very small scale, 4 people. And it reminded him very well to that stage. And he was saying, it sounds crazy what you're doing, bringing people together from very different backgrounds, but it's right. It's the right thing at the right time, so I give you money. And this is what Hasso Plattner did. He invested several million US dollars in the startup. And this is why it calls also what it's called Hasso Plattner Institute of Design. Actually, they didn't call it design thinking at that time because design thinking was just a term coming up. It was not very popular at that time. And when he was looking at that 10 years ago, he was saying, if this is a successful model, I want to have this also in Germany. I want to bring this over to Europe, to my home turf, kind of. And that was the place where I got involved. My background is in computer graphics. I was teaching for 13 years at the film school in this little niche of computer graphics, computer animation. And then I was asked by Hasso Plattner and his team, could you maybe bring this over? You are a person with a home turf in creative arts, but also connected to the IT industry, so connected to what I'm up with my software institute at the HPI, and can you bring this over to Germany? And so my home is now the Hasso Plattner Institute, which was founded more than 10 years ago, focused software systems engineering. It's a privately funded German university institution, funded through that person. Those are the professors. And if you look at that picture, you see we have the IT guys, they have a problem with diversity, a little bit. There's no professor, no female professor yet. But at our place, at the D School, we don't have a diversity problem at all. We're actually looking for diversity in any kind, gender diversity, different disciplines. And if you look at the numbers, we run a 2-semester course, basic track, advanced track. 2 days per week is the program, so it's not a full-time program. The students don't earn any grades, no credit points, no academic value. So I'm always telling the students in advance when they apply, what you're applying for is, in the traditional academic sense, is completely valueless. Yeah. But we still have many more applications than we have seats available. We have per semester, we have 120 students representing 65 different disciplines, more than 50 universities, more than 20 nations, which is an incredible set, which is actually a small version of a full university. If you just have it in a little room representing, like, one class is 40 students representing 30 different disciplines, and it's such an incredible power relief. And we have also 35 professors and assistants accompanying the students, not doing the traditional training stuff like the professor, like I'm doing now, teaching in front of a group of people. No, we don't do this. We coach the teams. And this is why we need 35 people. But they're also part-time, like our students. And this concept we started about 8 years ago now. And we do this in English to make it accessible to all kinds of people. And these are some pictures of our environment. And how do we do that? We ask, like you here at the OpenLab, you were actually asked by the city. We started to ask companies to give us their actual problems, their challenges, real challenges they are facing. For example, Volkswagen, like large companies like Volkswagen, they are asking themselves, how does IT technology, how does these nice pieces of glass we are carrying around all the time, how do they change the workspace of the future? How do they affect it? Or Miele, maybe well known here as well, a small or medium-sized company, they were asking us, how does laundry washing emerge and look and feel like in the future? We also collaborate with startups, with governmental organizations, NGOs, little activities. Most of the companies have to pay for the whole program, and we do some non-profit projects as well, cross-financed. So this is representing what we're doing with the students, but you see there are companies involved, and from the very first year, the companies were looking at the outcomes of the students, and they're saying, wow, this is interesting. This is a new way, a new mode you put the people in, and this kind of multidisciplinary approach is obviously very efficient. And so they were asking ourselves, could you offer courses for the management? Could you do the same training which you do for the students for us? And we didn't have a program at that time, but we started it, and this is just an excerpt of those companies booking classes or booking student projects as well. But those are the guys who are saying, we want to have management training in design thinking. We want to also learn the different mode, which is helping us to address the growing pressure to change in this paradigm shift we are in right now. And what are we doing? The basic things are very, very easy. We don't focus too much on technology. We don't focus too much on business. What we're doing is we focus very intensively on human values, on desirability. We try to find out the changes of the needs of the people, because they are radical. We see a lot of change happening in our private life every day. New apps, new machines, new digital connection everywhere. Workplace is changing. So we're looking at this first. Then we try also to address technology and business issues. And the basic things is in this picture, the 3 core elements of design thinking, as we call it. I call that the dynamic triangle. The focus not too much on the individual creative power, we focus on the creative power of teams, of mixed teams. And this is a paradigm shift in education. Because education, traditionally, focusing on a single person issue and a single person power. And we are saying, yes, we can do this, but if you have complex problems, it's much better to focus on the creative power of a diverse team. Second thing is that we are using a process. Actually, we are borrowing the working process of designers. This is what is giving the name to what we're doing, design thinking. We're actually using a process which is activating both parts of the brain, the analytical part as well as the creative intuitive part. And kind of at the same time, so we're balancing all the mental power of every team member. And a team is consisting out of 4, 5, 6 people. Not 2, it's too small, 10, too many. So we found out 4, 5, 6 is a very good number. And the third thing is, if you have those teams, and if you're using this kind of process, which is activating the full mental power, you need a certain space, which is supporting, on one hand, the team aspects. And usually, if you look at normal work environments and learning environments, you have a hard time to find really team-focused environments, team-focused furniture, for example. And it needs also to support those process. So you need a flexible, a variable space. And this is why I'm so happy that you are providing this here and you're starting this in a very similar way, a place where people can meet in a different mode and can experiment in any kind of field. And what happened through the last, please find a seat, through the last years was astonishing to us. One thing was, if you look at that chart, what we didn't expect is that the D school, as we call it, the School of Design Thinking, was a kind of entrepreneurial generator. Those are all companies built during the studies, during the design thinking courses. Little startups, spin-offs, some of them are agencies, some of them are software companies, and some of them are around since seven years now, and growing and doing interesting things. The other interesting, unexpected thing was that companies were starting to build their own kind of design thinking spaces. And this is just an excerpt of companies doing that. You might know some of those brands. And it's amazing that even Deutsche Bank is having, since several years now, a design thinking center close to Frankfurt and their basics. Now I would like to end with this picture again, with a view to the world map and to look at what happened since 2007. Because there was an amazing thing going on. If you see now, and this is just our simple try to find all the spots which are related to design thinking, all institutions trying to implement design thinking, and there's one person coming from Istanbul right on the spot. Professor Nadar. That was not planned, but I just wanted to point on Istanbul where we are cooperating. And those are all institutions. So, don't get it wrong. It's not that Hasso Plattner was spreading his money like you're saying, oh, Starbucks is a nice model, we do the same thing with design thinking. No, he was just spending his money at Stanford and in Potsdam, and all the other institutions, they are approaching us and they're trying to learn, and they try to set up similar institutions. And I focus now here on the OpenLab because it's so great that we have the chance now to open or to welcome Stockholm with the OpenLab in this growing international global network of like-minded institutions. So thanks for the start, and thanks for inviting me. Thanks for the attention. Yeah.
So I know that, I mean, in general we talk about IQ, right? IQ. And I know that you think that we'll begin to talk about something called WeQ. What is that?
Oh, yeah. This is actually a very interesting word. A friend of mine came up with that, looking at what we are doing at the D schools, and he was saying the traditional way of educating people in this kind of silo, different departments, and separating people from each other, it is very much driven through the measurement of the intelligence of a single person, which you could nail down with IQ. Intelligence quotient, actually developed about 100 years ago. It was a German researcher, he came up with a great idea to say, we can measure the intelligence of a person, and there is a number behind it. It's 84, or it's 112. And if you look at the schools, what the schools are doing, they are breaking it down. You have a little number for English and one for mathematics and so on. But it's all the individual power, the individual measurement of the single person. But he was saying, looking at, you're giving no grades, you're working in teams, and the team is the focus, and so on. He was saying, what you're doing is more focusing on WeQ, the we intelligence. And I've never heard about that term. I looked in the internet, I couldn't find it. And he was saying, Peter Spiegel is his name, he's a great guy starting the Vision Summit in Berlin. And he was saying, Peter, this is it. This is a perfect term to describe the direction we are heading towards. Because what we are doing with the D schools is not that we know how it works. We're just trying out on this step, in this paradigm shift from this disconnected, linear, analog thinking into a networked, collective, connected thinking. We are doing little steps, and we're trying out. Every semester, we're trying out new. And the direction is very well described with WeQ. This is maybe the answer.
So many would say that society is very much driven by competition, and yes. Here you're talking about how we should open up and work in teams, and many people might be worried what happens to my career now, and so on. And also people would say that, well, competition has brought us many amazing things and innovations and stuff. Why would design thinking be better?
So just maybe a question to all of you. Who of you did his or her final thesis in a team?
Not many, I can say. Was it 5 people out of maybe 80, 85?
3, 5. Could you say in which discipline it was?
Biomedicine. Biomedicine?
Biomedicine. And did all the people involved get the same grade? No.
No.
So, but this 5 people in this group is a high number. I ask that question very often with a large audience, especially in Germany. I'm very lucky when if one person is, usually no one is raising their hand. Now imagine a world where, to my question, all the people would raise their hand except 5. And they would have to explain, oh no, my father was saying I should rather do this on my own and not as a team, not in a team way because it's better for yourself. No, we're living in a world which is 95, if not more, % defined through individual focus, individual competition. And this is a problem. And this is a problem in a connected world. This is a problem in a world where the problems are getting more and more complex. And where we need the joint forces. But we have to learn that. If we don't learn it, how can we do it? How can we be team players if you don't learn it?
So, but how long will it take, this paradigm shift?
We're working on this since 7 years now at the D School. And for me, it's always interesting to see at the end of one semester what happens to students who are coming out of that education system, who are collecting all this stuff for themselves, and who are very well prepared, very good in their silo thinking. And after half a year of collaborating, their mind changes completely. And they are in a way that they're saying, hey, we'll never get back to that old way of thinking, because we learned that teamwork is a very positive thing, and we end up with results which are exceeding our expectations. And the other thing is they learn about themselves, incredible things. Because if you have not the burden of the full responsibility on one single pair of shoulders, if you distribute that, every person involved in the team opens up much easier. It's much more keen to come up with crazy ideas.
So you're saying this? This basically means a lot about themselves. This basically means we have to change our educational system because we have to learn how to work differently from early on, and then there's a change also in society. So it sounds like 50 years, but do you think we will be doing this much faster?
If we don't make it faster than 50 years, we will be vanished. I'm completely sure we will be vanished.
So when design thinking started, it was more about solving problems like with the products and service. But like now here in Stockholm with OpenLab, it begins to be used more and more to solve complex societal changes. Yeah. Is this the way to actually solve those huge challenges ahead?
For me, this is completely right, because I'm into, since I was driving innovation since 25 years, focusing on digital imagery. You know, I saw the shift in the moving pictures and still pictures from analog to digital. And I was driving it and I was using it. And it was all about machines. It was all about technology. But now we are living in times where technology is a piece of glass. Yeah. And it's carrying a power which is incredible. It's so much power in your pockets, much more than we had before. But the technology is just a piece of glass. So it's not technology anymore. It's what technology is causing, and what is coming up with that is actually it's a system to solve social problems. It was causing, or it's still causing, social problems. But now we start also using this kind of technology in a different way, and the different way is a connected way. But this is what we have to learn, that not our machines. Usually our students, they come in the first semester, the first weeks they think we are completely connected. You know, we are on Facebook, we are on LinkedIn and all, we are completely connected. But in the first days, what they learn is, oh, our machines are connected, but our brains are somehow disconnected. And so what we have to learn is to connect our incredible power between our ears with the power of others, and the machines. This machine compared to that machine is bullshit, you know.
Well, thank you so much, Uli Weinberg. Okay. Very interesting to listen to you.
Thank you.